What's good, Cancer? It's your girl Key, the Transfer Minister, your favorite psychic on the tube, and we're back with another sugar-free prediction. We're going to be doing your annual prediction reading. With that being said, do not expect me to do the individual signs like this in the future. I won't be doing it. I'm only doing it for the new year. Okay, because I feel like it's fair, to give you guys individual attention, almost personal reading for the year ahead. With that being said, I am still taking personal readings. If you guys are interested, the link below in the description box will detail not only that, but the link to my main channel as well as my Patreon. And you'll also have access to my number where you can directly text me regarding booking information. If you happen to find that this reading provides you any insight, warnings, or just any type of entertainment, elements, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. If you want a tip, tips are not required, but they are definitely appreciated. All the payments that I take are below in the description box. We could also negotiate something else if you want to do service for service. With that being said, we're going to dive straight into your reading because I don't want to waste too much time. I feel like that in the present moment, you're kind of, how do I say this? You might be holding on to your money because you're frustrated. You feel like you work too hard, and when your money is just with you, you keep it longer. But people always asking you something. Somebody must know your payday, or must know, I don't know. People know too much of your money problems. Like, people know when you get your bonus. People know when you get paid, etc. People in your pockets. And it's getting on your nerves. So you starting to say, no, a lot more. Okay? And you don't care how it makes you sound. Because it's just you getting fed up. I feel like you're tired, Cancer, in the present moment, right? We'll see how you change and progress throughout the year, but right now we're going to talk about how you're currently expressing yourself. I do want to get a scripture for you guys because I got a scripture for every other sign. The scripture that I got for you guys is Revelation chapter 3, verse 11, which in itself, the word revelation. And that's what I feel like you guys are having, a revelation. But anyway, the scripture goes is cited as this: I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one else will take your crown. That in itself goes on with the energy that we pick it up on with this 4 coins. But with this being said, I think that God is letting you know that you too shall be redeemed and resurrected, and a change is going to come in your life. And don't let nobody take advantage of the things that you do have, and don't let nobody else make you feel like you're less than a child of God. I'm summarizing, but although that scripture means something different, that's what I'm taking it and interpreting it as for this particular spread and how it applies to you in your life. But I definitely encourage you to read the book of Revelations for yourself, for yourself, because it's a blessing in everybody that reads the book of Revelation. So definitely encourage you to get your own interpretation of the word. But as it pertains to this spread, I do feel like for a lot of you guys, you're just not, I've been getting this song a lot on my main channel. No, by Summer Walker. You want me to lose myself just to keep you home? And the answer is no. I know that's right, Cancer. You get fed up. And you sitting there and you thinking about, you might find yourself reminiscing about stuff from the past, not because the past is a place of residence, but reference. I'm not going to keep making the same mistakes. No, fuck that. Because you keep telling me the same things, and every time I believe you, you keep doing this. People keep trying to make me out to be this way, and then when I go against my own boundaries and my word, then this is what happens. So I guess I'll be the bad guy. I think you're analyzing some of the choices that you've made and what has gotten you, thus far in the present moment. That's where you're at with a lot of situations, and I think that you have realized that certain masculine energies in your life have taken up a lot of space, and you have prioritized their advancement, and they haven't done nothing with it. Right? All the energy that you put into certain people, what have they done with the energy? And it's like you hoping subconsciously that somebody gives you some sort of validation or appreciation for it, and maybe they help you. And it's like, you know what, fuck the middleman. I'm gonna just start taking care of myself. Not gonna lie, your feelings can be hurt to a certain point, because you feel like with everything you did, everything you do is not enough. Either somebody get a credit to somebody else for the work that you did, or they act like that what you did, it didn't mean anything. And that can be frustrating. You just kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired, Cancer. Let's see. I feel like people perceiving you over the next year ahead is somebody, not gonna lie. You're not updating people. You could be just get up and leave the house a lot this year ahead. It's also like protecting your peace. You could be telling a little bit of a fibs, or maybe it's not lying, but it's like withdrawing information. I didn't lie, just didn't tell you everything as it's coming across. Some people are looking at you as somebody that is becoming more private. You getting up and you leaving the house, and you might not even tell nobody, get dressed or whatever, where you going, how long you gonna be going. It's like leaving your phone or putting your phone on D&D and doing what you want to do. I also feel like that there is somebody here that might feel like that you're nice nasty. Some people could feel like that you are jealous of them. I feel like it's two different things, coming up. I feel like some people might feel that you can't be happy for them, that you're taking shots at them, and they might feel like they have to protect themselves from you, Cancer, because they may feel like that you're mean to the people that they care about, or that you don't support something that they're happy about because it isn't what you want. Some people may feel like that you can't see past your own desires, and they might feel like that they have something that makes them happy, and they feel like you make it hard for them to have peace in that. Not gonna lie, because it's just not to your liking. So I don't know, this must be like your kids, or I don't know, somebody, family people. Some people feel judged by you this year. They feel like that nothing is good enough for you. And then there's other people who feel like that, you're not under my control anymore. Like, I'm realizing now that you're going to go do things for yourself. You're not waiting for me. So especially somebody who's trying to weaponize their presence or their finances, or like a tool against you. You just figure out how to operate without it. But there is going to be somebody, generally speaking, possibly a younger person, that's going to feel as though, I don't know. It's like they have some things that they're really happy and are adamant about that they feel like it's going to work. And it's like they feel like you're a Debbie Downer. Like you're being pessimistic, and they're genuinely happy and you're just shooting down their ideas, or you're minimizing something to a degree. Like you're not giving it any grace or leeway. It's kind of giving me like the mom Entangled. Like she just wanted her to sit in a fucking tower all damn day and waste her youth so that she could siphon it. And just that girl wanted to see the world. She wanted to date. She found a guy she liked, and the mom made him look worse than what he was. Yeah, he wasn't perfect, but what she should have seen is that he was making her daughter happy. She probably would have kept her. She probably would have still visited her and all these things if she didn't try to isolate her from love and all these opportunities. And really, she was just projecting, saying, oh, this is what happened to me, so this is what's going to happen to you. So some people are going to feel like that you aren't allowing them to leave the nest or to experience life, because they may feel like that you're so opinionated. That might be what it is. Some people might feel like you're very opinionated, and that you don't realize that, like sometimes the things you say, they could be hurtful. And then there's other people who might feel like that, you're no longer arguing with them. And that's when some people become dangerous. It might be like your partner. Because it's like, when I was trying to argue, not necessarily argue, but tell you how I felt, you weren't paying attention, and you turned it into an argument. So I'm in a space where now it's just like, I'm moving on. I've wised up. So people it's a mixed bag of emotions for the year ahead. I think there's a younger person that just wants to experience life and all these things. And they feel like they can juggle what they want and what they need, but you disagree. Right? And they feel like you aren't, like you think small of them, like you expect the least out of them, and it hurts their feelings because they've grown and they don't feel like that you're paying attention to the growth that they've made. You're still holding them or seeing them in a certain light. Now, for somebody else, there's another individual who's looking at you as somebody that is like, it's your turn to play. It's like if you date a cheater, for instance, and for a while you spend a lot of time arguing like about how you want to get their stuff together, and then after a while you just be like, forget it, You do what you want to do. I don't care what you do, but don't worry about what I got going on. It's a lot about that. So we have two different contrarian perspectives about how people are going to be perceiving you for the year ahead. Major shifts you're going to see in yourself. Not going to lie. It's like people are going to see just how much you was taken care of when you just stopped doing it. You're going to become more like, you're going to act like you don't see stuff or you don't hear stuff, because you're going to feel like, well, when I share my opinion or when I say what I want, people get upset. People might be frustrated because you kind of responded in an absolutist type of way. But, people might be trying to involve you in stuff, and you gonna be deliberately just giving like a dry energy. You might feel justified in it, but I feel like it's another way you can look at things. I don't think that everybody in entirety is saying, oh, you're a terrible person. I just feel like it's more so like, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And you don't have to go between such extremes. Either you present or you're not in entirety. Find the gray area is what I want to advise you. Because some people are like, the change that you're going to see in your life, like majorly, I think that you're going to get a point proven, but it's almost like to what costs. You understand what I'm saying? Due to means, like this, what do they say? Like, does the, something justify the means. Like, I don't think it does, though, to be honest. I feel like it's a better way to get your point across without completely going silent or completely ghosting with everybody. There might be somebody that deserves that attention, but not everybody is what I want to say. But, you know, the Two of Swords, it feels like it feels performative. It feels like I'm doing this to get a reaction out of people. It would be different if I felt like this energy was genuine, but it's really more so like, it feels like you're throwing a fit this year. I'm not gonna lie. And it's frustrating for you, and it's frustrating for other people around you. Not gonna lie. Because I think that it's going to require a certain level of accountability. Two things can exist at once. Your feelings can be valid. Somebody else's feelings can be valid. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, somebody lost the argument or the debate, or like you versus me because y'all disagree at a point in time. You know, sometimes we have to consider what's more important, winning the argument or saving the relationship. That's something we have to work on. You know, the ends doesn't justify the means. That's what I'm saying, basically. But I'm not going to hold you. I feel like with this Two of Swords, it's like, it's almost like it's doubling down. Like, you might be wrong about something, and it might be something that you just double down on. Like, I refuse to, like, by the end of this year, like, that's going to be something, like, you might be wrong about something, but you're going to be doubling down on, like, whether or not, like, you're not going to get a person closure or admit that you're wrong on it. I'm not saying that everything you do this year is going to be wrong, but it's going to be something big that occurs. And I feel like it's so intuitively you're going to know you was wrong about it, but you're going to spend more time talking about or thinking about the past stuff and how you ate it. But that's the thing, too, that I want to tell you. Like, just because you put up with something doesn't mean that you can expect everybody else to do it. Because you're the world's best teacher as to how to treat you. So if your action suggests that you're okay with a certain treatment, you can't get upset when you receive a certain treatment and then, like, retaliates passive aggressively like this, where it's like, well, when it was my turn, I put up with this, and this, so you got to put up with this, and this. That's not how it works. Because if they saying that that's not what they want to put up with, and you put up with it, that's where you was at. That means that's not something that you was willing to do, but that may not be something they're willing to do. Which is why I feel like it's always important to have certain conversations, whether it's romantic or platonic with people, to figure out what love means to everybody, because everybody's love language is different, and everybody's definition of love is different. If your definition of love is about sacrifice and all these things, and theirs is about, you know, something totally different, then y'all gonna have like this quiet resentment, and y'all gonna have a hard time meeting in the middle. And it becomes one of those instances where you recognize somebody cares, but you also have to recognize they can't love you in the way you need to be loved. And sometimes these problems arise when we place like our value in the hands of other people, or we're expecting people to validate us in some degree, or I guess like to give us a sense of belonging or security, or to fill a void is what I want to say. So there's some shadow work that needs to be done this year, but I could give you the advice. That's more of a personal, like, in-depth thing, but I can kind of see, even if I was to give it to you, you're not in a space yet to where you want to receive it, because it'll sound like, I don't know how to explain it, but it gets this way sometimes, where I can just see it in the chorus where somebody just isn't in a space to where they can hear it, because it's going to sound like criticism. You know, because it's not what they want to hear, especially if you feel validated to be in a certain type of way. And I feel like whatever this is, what is this around? Like, what is this situation about? It's really more so you thinking that you're protecting somebody by giving advice, and you think that you're giving somebody like a sound perspective, but really you're projecting. It may be hard for you to see outside your personal experience to see that somebody may have a different experience. So this is like going back to like another reading I did where I referenced Fantasia. Fantasia's mother and her grandmother could genuinely sing. However, that's not something that put food on their table. If they had made that choice because it wasn't written in the stars for them, they probably would have went hungry. And she was very poor growing up, but that was something that God had ordained for Fantasia to experience. So had Fantasia listened to her mom and her grandmother, she would have stayed in the same space for like a long period of her life. But because she took that risk, other opportunities were opening up for her. So it's one of those things, you know, where you're not going to see eye to eye with somebody because it's not meant to be that way. You know, it may be that you're used in this instance to be a catalyst for growth, but maybe not in a way that you would feel comfortable, you know, with. Maybe they need to be frustrated to kind of be like catapulted into a different direction away from you, and vice versa. This just feels like it's going to provide like opportunities or space for growth and reflection for both of you guys in the midst of the fire. But it just feels like you're going to be at odds with somebody that you genuinely care about, and you might have like you might be able to hear it and see it, but it sounds bad to come out your mouth and say, well, I'm bitter. Nobody really wants to admit that they're bitter about something. Nobody really wants to admit that they're jealous of somebody that they care about, etc. But it's going to show up in little actions that you do, and it might dawn on you like an epiphany, like, maybe I didn't have to respond that way. Maybe I didn't have to say it that way. You may have thought it was coming from the right space, but what echoed in the background of it was like bitterment and resentment, jealousy, etc. Right? So there's going to be opportunities for reflection this year. I can tell you that much. But you're going to be feeling very triggered this year because some of the excuses that you've made for yourself, you're going to see people release those excuses, and they're not going to live like, they're not going to make your insecurities their prison. I'm going to be honest with you. And for a lot of you guys, it could be that God utilizes certain young people or like people that you possibly look down on to a certain degree, or maybe feel as though you can't learn something from, to show you that some of the like restraints you put on yourself are non-existent, if that makes sense. So the Bible does say, out of the babe of the mouth comes the truth. So something like that could be significant. It's one of those moments, right? Yeah, it's giving that. Not gonna hold you. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about your finances for the year ahead. Not gonna lie, with the full card, some of you guys, you are not gonna be worried about it. It's like, if I gotta pick up overtime next week, fine, but this week I'm getting PTO. If I gotta do X, Y, Z next week, fine, but I'm PTO or whatever. It's like, you're really not gonna be thinking about it. You're gonna be more so prioritizing like your mental health and your physical health. You're not gonna be in the mood. Like, it's like getting done with your work early and leaving. You might even tell people that you're going to work when you're really not going to work. You just want to have some alone time this year. With the full card being present, you might even decide you want to up and just change environments, like switch locations, or up and go back to school, or up and just do something different altogether, up and move. It's giving that though. Like, some of you guys, you might get offered a promotion, you know, and I feel like it's something that you swore up and down you either didn't want because it wasn't offered to you at some point. But I think you'll end up taking it, you know, and I think people might treat you differently or might say stuff to you, and it's like you might doubt whether or not you want to stay in a certain environment, because you might feel like, well, I don't know, you might feel not under supported. You might feel like, well, and I feel like, to be honest, you didn't clap for people when they had it. It's like, reminded me when so-and-so was mad that old girl got her baddies chained, and they felt like they had to work harder for theirs, and that she didn't deserve her baddies chained. And then when she finally got her baddies chained, people was like, you happy now that you got this? No, nobody like to be reminded of when they was bitter. And that's what I feel like is like the tea. It's like something like that might happen to you, and it might be what I was picking up on. Like, you might get a position, but it's after you kind of ragged on everybody else that you was secretly, and you probably won't give it credit or say it out loud, but people will see it. Like, you know, you wanted that, but you was acting like you didn't want it, or you was acting like you didn't care about it. But the reality is that it kind of bugged you that people that you felt like were inferior to you, they hadn't been there long enough, or they weren't smart enough, got it before you. But you'll end up getting it too. So I think that this is one of those lessons where God is teaching you not to covet the things of other people, because that's a sin in itself. But you know, you might get frustrated when you get called out for something though, and you'll ruminate about it. Not gonna hold you, but I do see like a leveling up, like a whole new endeavor financially. When it comes to career, though, you might get something in career, or you might just feel like that you're tired of working somewhere and doing something like the same things, you know. For some of you guys, I feel like that you might decide, you know what, F it. I'm gonna, how do I say this? Some of you guys, you might be either like going on leave, or switching environments, because you might feel like wherever you working at, like, it's just not worth the risk, okay? Or like I said, some of you guys could just be like saying, like, well, for you could just be like saying, like, oh, I might as well just go back to school. I'm just tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of being somebody's lapdog. I'm tired of running errands. I'm tired of doing like the hard work and doing the bulk of it and not really getting the recognition that I deserve. You know, you might feel like that. Or you might threaten to leave, and then somebody might offer you a promotion like at the bare end of it. Something like that could be significant, though. I think that for a lot of you, like for you, I keep saying a lot of you guys, but for you, I feel like that I think you're going to be watching some younger women in their prime be happy. Like, so there might be, I don't know, this is either like a best friend or co-workers, your children or whatever, but could be a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or could evolve Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, but you're going to see people be happy and like also be on top of their stuff, like have like something be ideal, and you might feel like you third wheeling or left out to a certain degree, and you might find yourself saying things or taking shots, and it's really not even you. Like, it's something that you have to work on, because you might, I'm not gonna lie, with this 2 of Wands, he's sitting there talking to pickles. It's giving cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, you might see yourself, people might not want to deal with you because you might be in this energy, and you might, for a lot of you guys, like, instead of go talking to somebody with an unbiased opinion, it's like, for me, I keep saying a lot of you guys, but for you, I see you kind of making excuses for certain behaviors or talking to yourself. Like, because look at this 9 of Cups. He looks kind of crazy, don't he? He look a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It'd be like that when we just don't want to face ourselves. So I'll give you a personal example. Like, I remember when, how do I say this? I was really frustrated for a while, seeing that, I'm not gonna lie, it bothered me, and I had to work through that because I felt like I wasn't a good friend. My best friend was getting married, and I'm not gonna lie, it hurt my feelings, and I don't know why. It was something I had to work through for myself, because I was like, my best friend's getting married, and you know, I felt like that. And this is a terrible thing to even say. I'm so embarrassed to say it, but it's reality. Like, I didn't want to say it out loud, but the reality is this. I felt like that my whole life. I thought that the reason I couldn't find love was because I was chunky, and my best friend was way bigger than I am. And I felt like, how did she find love before me? And I felt like I was getting dogged out, and she was getting loved, and she was finna get married and all these things. And I felt like a terrible person on the inside. I couldn't audibly say it out loud and be like, oh, I was jealous, but that was the reality. I was jealous because I felt like that my friend who didn't even care about marriage was getting married, and she got left the house, and she never had to work a job. She went and got her first job ever when we was like 22, and then quit it shortly afterwards because she was like, my feet hurt, I don't like walking. Like, it was giving that. And I was like, girl, what the? And I was thinking in my mind, from a small-minded space, coveting what she had, what God had given her the grace for, thinking, oh, well, I can cook, I can clean, I'm cute, why don't I have a husband? Because that God didn't give me that grace at that moment. It wasn't my season for that. And I needed to learn how to clap for people. Sometimes it's not about you. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a lesson that most people don't like to be honest with themselves, or parts of them they don't want to have to face, but it's reality. And it was hard to say out loud, but it was the truth. I didn't even go to her wedding, which is really effed up to say when you think that you're somebody's best friend, right? That when I think back about that part of my life, like, even though we ended up stopped talking, like, for a totally different reason, we weren't good. We called each other best friends, so we weren't really friends to each other. You understand what I'm saying? It kind of sucked that I was able to allow my shadow to interfere in something that could have been nice, you know. That wasn't nice. That wasn't very friendly of me. And it really wasn't me in entirety. It was just a part of me that I had shoved down that came to the surface because I didn't work through it. I didn't heal it. So when I saw people getting some of the things that I wanted, part of me was bitter because I felt like I deserved it more. But that's not up for me to decide. You understand what I'm saying? There's a Bible verse, I can't think of it in the present moment, but at the time in which I was going through it, it kind of called me out. Oh, boom, the book of Jonah in entirety. So Jonah didn't feel like that the people that God had called him to go over there and to instruct and to preach and like prophesize the word about, like, God will give you redemption if you repent, and this is the proper way to follow God, and this is his commandments, etc., etc. Those were the enemies of the Israelites. He was like, hell no, like, why would I go over there and help them? They're our ops. Why would I redeem them? Then my people gonna think that I'm a betrayer. I'm gonna look weird. Basically, I'm summarizing. And God was like, listen, you have empathy for this tree that you see is dying, but you don't have empathy for my kids. Like, these are my children. I don't exist. I'm summarizing, guys, but I don't exist in this realm in which humans are. My ways are not your ways. Those are my children at the end of the day. Those are my animals. This is my land. And you're asking me to desert it based off your human prejudice, and I exist outside of those realms. So in a way, God is going to be using you the same way he did, Jonah in that story. And it was hard for Jonah to see outside of himself. And what happened? He was swallowed by a whale, and he still had to go do what God called him to do. He was very, 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 very stubborn about going against God when it was like, listen, I don't think I can do this. You got the wrong God. Get somebody else to do it. And God was like, no, it got to be you. It got to be you. So like Jonah, you're going to have a hard time accepting a challenge that God is putting before you. And to be honest, Jonah didn't believe that the enemies of Israel deserved the grace that God was offering them. And for a lot of you guys, like the story that I gave you guys by myself, or like Jonah, you're going to have a hard time seeing somebody else receive the grace that you feel like that was deserving of you. But you don't know, like, what God sees in those people. You understand what I'm saying? And the same way you're a child of God, they're a child of God too. And what you should be seeing with this, like, the lesson that this year is going to teach you is that when somebody next to you gets his blessed, it doesn't mean that you are undeserving of it. It just means that God is in the neighborhood. And what you should do is celebrate those around you that are getting blessed, as opposed to coveting your neighbor. That's the lesson that you're learning. That I said it all to say that. So I encourage you to not lean on your own understanding, but to not just, I guess, like, make excuses for, like, your behavior, but try to seek an unbiased opinion. And shut up sometimes. You got like 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Don't talk over this person. Don't discredit like a professional. Literally go ask somebody for their unbiased opinion and listen more than you speak about the matter. The Nauticus talks about spiritually, and it feels like that you are going to be going through a period where you're going to be frustrated. I'm not going to lie, because you're going to see people around you getting a lot of the things that you wanted for yourself that you told yourself you didn't care about. So whether this is people getting married and you told yourself, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. I don't care about that. I don't need white paperwork. Something like that, right? As an example. Babies, right? Or houses, or I don't know, flowers. Like some women, they'll say, like, because they've never had a man that consistently bought them flowers and, nice things, just because some women will convince themselves that they don't want a ring or flowers and things of that nature to, I guess, feel comfortable in a relationship that lacks what they truly need. And when they see other people get these things, they start spewing out hate out of insecurity. And for you, I can see where that might be popping up this year. Not gonna lie. The 4 of Cups talks about your health. It's something that you've been on, like you've been supposed to get done, but you're gonna be putting it off. Not gonna lie. And I feel like you're gonna be getting reminders regarding doctor's appointments, and you might be putting off a doctor's appointment because you feel like, well, it's cosmetic. It might be something that looks bad, but it's not something that you're going to die if you don't change. Because, like, I feel like you talk to somebody about it and they said it's going to cost a lot of money, but you can live with it. And you're going to be like, I'd rather live with it. It's like reminding me of, like, I seen this girl and she lost, like, she was 600 and something pounds. And right now she's like 200 and something pounds. But she has, like, a bunch of skin. And it's going to cost, like, over $100,000 to, like, get the fat removed or something like that. So she was like, I'll just be Bat Lady because I don't have just hundreds of thousands of dollars to just spend on this cosmetic surgery. It might be something like that occurs for you this year, not gonna lie. The King of Wands talks about your love life. You might be dating a stoner. This person here, they're gonna be doing a lot of shit they ain't got no business doing, but then if you call them out on it, they're gonna be trying to, like, it's kind of giving, like, all the shit you do. Oh, this person might be really attractive or really good in bed, because the King of Wands, typically it symbolizes like this phallic symbolism in the card, and then a really nice looking man. So this could be somebody that you kind of been with for a long time. So could be a high school sweetheart, or like a baby daddy, baby mama, or somebody that you just have tenure with in your relationship. Not gonna lie. But I think that this person is probably going to be getting their finances together. I can tell you that much. Like, they're going to be trying to be better, but it's a slow progress. But I think this is somebody that has a hard time, like, not feeling the room or the space with their negative energy. When they go through stuff, they feel like y'all got to go through stuff. It's kind of weird, but I feel like you're used to this. Like, this is somebody that they might be the youngest. If they're not the youngest, they might be like the only girl or the only boy in their family or something like that, right? So they have a hard time, like, with thinking outside of, like, what's going on with them. And you might have to remind this person, like, it's not just your world. Other people exist on this plane of existence with you. But the good things that I do see is that you guys are going to be paying debts off to some degree with each other. I also think that you guys are going to be having like conversations where it's like they're going to be vulnerable with you even when it's hard, and tell you how they feel, and vice versa. Where I feel like previously this may have been difficult, I think you guys are going to be finding a way to, okay, let's commit to not going to bed angry. Let's commit to not arguing with each other like we enemies, and talking to each other with love, or giving the space necessary when we can't do that. Like, how can we be practical in our relationship is what I'm seeing. I think there's, you guys, if you haven't been sleeping in the same room, I think that's going to be something that you guys, like, work on. Like, okay, we're going to make sure that we talk about it, like, once a week, as an example. We're going to talk about the things that bothered us, as opposed to having all these random splats, and it's affected everybody in the household. It's like, okay, every Wednesday we gonna meet and we gonna talk about things that bother us. So if you got a problem, wait till Wednesday so we can wrap it up and we can talk about it then. That way we're not speaking from a place of emotion. If you gotta write me a letter, or I write you a letter, and then we come back after we've like calmed down, that's fine. It could be that like you and your partner might make an agreement not to speak from a place of anger, because y'all might have that habit real bad, like talking at each other as opposed to talking to each other. Regarding your platonic situations, for a lot of you guys, like your friends, your kids, your family members, they might feel like that you're a bit mean or salty. And it might be them. It might be your friends, family members, and kids that you see getting a lot of the things. And I feel like you had a role to play in why they are able to track these things. But that might be what makes you salty, like that might be what it is. Like, okay, I know I encouraged them to make that step, but me seeing it work, me seeing my advice work in other people's life and it's not working in mine, it's frustrating. That's how you gonna be feeling. But I don't think that's not the way you should be looking at it, because it's the Lemon King. The Lemon King, he's bitter. Like, he's very, very bitter. It might be an Aries or a Taurus specifically. Somebody might get married, or somebody might be getting a lot of attention because things are going to be going so well. Like, they might be getting a lot of, like, I want to say praise. And you're going to feel like, that little thing, or that ain't that big of a deal, whatever. But it would be a big deal if it was you. You'd want somebody to come like 3 on the clock. So it talks about, like, collaboration. So people are going to be coming with this person, giving this person a lot of attention. A lot of attention. And I think because you have to exist without getting a certain level of attention for so long, you convince yourself that you didn't need it. And I think some childhood trauma is going to be popping up this year. Stuff that you suppress is going to be boiling to the surface, is really what I want to say. I feel like that you'll have an opportunity to either work through your trauma or let it isolate you from the people that you love. I could tell you that. This could serve as a warning, or it could be a prediction. It's really all up to you. Because I think that somebody here is going to reach a certain level of success, or they're going to get something that they really wanted, right? Some of you guys, for you, I don't know why I keep saying you guys, but for you, this could end up being like somebody could find out that they're pregnant, or somebody can get engaged, or something like that. And it just feels like people are going to be flocking, and it's all going to be about this person, I think this is going to be somebody that you're going to see mature in a very short period of time. And it's almost like you might put your mouth on this person and say that somebody isn't ready for something, or they're not going to be good at something, or I believe it when I see it. And you're going to sound like a hater. And I think they're going to prove you wrong at the end of the day. But, it's kind of what I'm seeing. To be honest with you. But I don't think they'll charge to your heart. I think this person here, they know enough about you to know where it's coming from. But that won't take away from the fact that it'll still hurt and it'll still be wrong. If that makes any sense. So overall this year, though, I think that we should be more cognizant of what we say and the effects and the aftermath of that. We have to think twice. I have another card in one of my decks. I don't have it on this spread, but it says, I will toss things around over and over in my head before I let it roll off my tongue. So try to think before you speak. That should be implied, but it's heavily emphasized in almost every card that I pull for you. Like, you have to think outside of yourself, because I think that, how do I say this? Like, you might have felt, you have to address who originally made you feel unwanted, or who originally made you feel desirable, who first in your life made you feel like that you had to come second or you third. Like, you have to address the original pain, the original trigger, because I don't feel like it's this person that's doing it. At least not intentionally. It's just something that's been pushed down that you convinced like it didn't bother you. So, something, food for thought. Don't shoot the messenger. I do want to tell you, though, avoid pork as well. Random message, I know. Avoid pork. Beans is going to be tearing you up. I don't know if like this is like an age thing or whatever. Like, your body's just not... I don't know, but I see gastronomical issues this year. Not gonna lie, like, stuff is gonna be tearing up your stomach. You're gonna be gassy. Really, really gassy. I suggest eating more like, I don't want to tell you to eat like a rabbit, but kind of, it might help you with like flowing. Not trying to get too nasty. I usually don't get health advice, but this looks like bacon and this looks like intestines wrapped up in one. And typically when I get messages like that, people tell me months later, like, oh, that happened, or you was right about that. Because even with this looks like the Seven of Swords. I could tell you what it looks like, but it's gonna get a little graphic. But your stomach gonna be a little messed up. There's maybe something that you need to consider. You might feel like you might be ignoring stuff that's going on with your body, because you might be like, I ain't got the money, that feels expensive. So maybe if I ignore it, it won't bother me. But that's not the way you should be handling your business. So yeah, we're going to be talking about, overall, if you're dealing with what sign, Cancer, whether it's romantic or platonic, I don't know, but we'll see first about the romantic energy, and then we'll talk about the platonic energy next. So if you're dealing with them in a romantic sense, I think this person here, they feel like that they have a lot of creative ability and a lot of talents that they kind of let fall by the wayside, that they haven't invested in. And they see how other people have chased their dreams and how it's worked for them. And it's almost like they have this is like reminding me of when Michael Jackson says, I have to hurry up and get to the studio and record before God gives my ideas to Prince. This person may feel like that other people are doing things they convinced themselves was not going to be profitable, wasn't going to be successful. So they need reassurance is what I'm telling you. They need support. They don't need somebody that's going to brush them off and tell them what they said or what they feel or what they think. It doesn't matter. They need a good listener. Okay? They also are not in a mood this year to, I guess, walk you through what they need. They feel like you've been around them long enough to where you should pay attention to them. Not gonna lie, your partner is gonna come across a little bit, if this is romantic, they're gonna be coming across a little bit like a bully, but you're gonna be knowing, and I can only imagine, like, sometimes it's hard to tell your partner, like, that they're wrong in certain situations when they talk about co-workers or friends and family members, and you could clearly tell they're jealous. But if you say that, they'll be like, well, whose side you on? They're gonna get mad or whatever, but it's the truth. I think that this is somebody that, if I'm being completely honest, with the Syrians card being here, I think that they want to have a safe space where they feel supported and supporting their dreams and going after things that they want to. That's really what it is, the envy. So it's not really just the success that people have, it's the support systems that they have. Even if they provided these people with the support system, they just wish that somebody would show up for them the way they've shown up for other people. That's where the bitterment is coming in at, if I'm being completely honest. I think this is somebody that, you know, they might get discontent, or they might feel discontent this year because they might feel like that everybody has branched off in life and done wonderful things with their life and themselves. 2 to 10 o'clock, message for you there with that. Off their hard works and their backing, and they feel like that it's their turn, and they need support in that. They need somebody that's going to validate them in that experience and let them know that, even if it gets tough, I'm here for you. Foresight, planning, and strategy. Alpha Sagittarians. So I think this is somebody that doesn't want to have to figure everything out. They don't want to be the problem solver. They don't want to be the person that's always calling their family members when the bills is in the hole, trying to get you guys out of debt. They don't want to be the person that's always trying to figure out, did the kids eat? Can I get the kids to eat? Is it from something in the refrigerator? Is it something to drink? They don't want to always be the person that has to figure it out. Support isn't just saying, I support you. Support is like making sure that you anticipate the needs of them and the people that they care about. All the shit that they do behind the scenes that gets, disregarded. They want you to pay attention to those things and take action so you can take some things off their plate. That's what they mean when they say they need support. That's what they're needing. And they also need a little bit more empathy from you. The best way you can show your partner how not to covet their partner, like their friends and family members and etc., is through leadership and examples and through like action. Like taking them away could be very helpful, especially when they get in these moods where they're just being mean or gripey or whatever. Taking them in at least stressful environments where they're reminded of the things that they haven't done for themselves, because it's really more so they're at a point to where they're having like a little bit of an identity crisis, is what I want to say, if this is romantic, where it's like it's getting to the point to where they're ruminating, they're overthinking, and they're starting to feel like all this working with it to get me is what I'm picking up on. So they just need genuine support. They feel like they can't escape their mind. They feel like a failure, possibly, like they wasted a lot of time helping other people, and now those people are fine and they're left with like whatever. They just need a boost this year. They need support, and they need to be reminded that life isn't over for them, that they still have time to achieve all the things that they will desire in their life. So just be that person, be that backbone, be that sense of security, because they aren't going to have those words to articulate that, but that's what they're needing. Pick me up, and just letting this person know that I support your decisions through actions, through words, and through space. I genuinely support you, and this is what I can do to support you. If there's anything that you need, let me know, and I'll see if there's something where I can meet you in the middle. And if I can't meet you in the middle, I'll connect you with somebody who can in that regard. So that's what they need overall. Sometimes they might need a change of scenery. So plan dates, get this person out the house. Even if they make it hard, just be like, listen, and don't make it seem like you're going out your way, because that can make this person more anxious. If you're like, well, I'm trying to be there, I'm trying to support you, that's weaponizing like your help, when it shouldn't feel like a chore to be there for your partner. That's not what you need to be doing. It's genuinely just showing up when it hurts, when it's hard, when it's scary, and all those things. Like, just be there. It's one of those years, like, it's like dealing with somebody that's pregnant and moody. Like, sometimes they can be a lot and overstimulated, but it's possible. Especially if this is somebody you are married to or in a long-term commitment with, like, it's one of those things where it's for better or for worse, right? And this is one of their moments. I don't know. They might be going through, like, either it could be pregnancy, menopause. What do men go through? I don't know. Men are always grouchy. Sorry, but I don't know. Something like that. Like, whatever it is, it could be this something they're going through, something like that. They could be contributing to this, but it's a season, it's a phase. They'll get through it. Okay? Could be their cycles could be very hard on them this year. As an example, whatever it is, like, just work through them, because it's temporary. Period. So if you're talking about a platonic situation, we'll clarify that. But if it was romantic, I wanted to give this guidance, and I'll pick up on if it's platonic too. So what were we doing? Oh, platonic. I got a little distracted because all my cards freaking fell on the floor, but I can get them. It's no big deal. Whatever, right? So if you are dealing with them in I guess like a platonic sense, so that'll be friends, family member, co-worker, whatever. It won't really matter, but if this isn't like a person that you're romantically involved with, then I guess this portion will be applicable for your year ahead prediction. Let me lay the cards out. Let's see what comes out. Alrighty. We have tall whites, Agarthians, Anunkai, and the Greys. Okay. Interesting. I want to say, if this is platonic, I think this person here, they're going through their own stuff. It's not you, it's them. You know, I think this is just somebody, and they know it, but they're not going to come out their mouth and say it. It's not you, it's them. Period. You know, I think that down the line, if I'm being honest, I don't think this person will apologize for their behavior out their mouth, but they'll apologize in the way that they apologize. So it'll be showing up and buying stuff, if that's the way they apologize, or cooking something, or it's their way of apologizing. I feel like you already know who this person is, so it's like whatever they do to kind of smooth things over, it'll be like acting like nothing ever happened. Because to be honest, they'll be embarrassed. And they are embarrassed every time something like this happens, where they end up behaving in a way that's less than mature. But it really boils down to this person here. They might be this year, like, especially if they're larger than you, they're going to be trying to like entice conflicts. And it's really because they know they're wrong. So it's like, if I can push you to the edge to get you to retaliate, then we can ignore what I did and we can focus on how you retaliated, because I don't want to hold myself accountable. That's what we're seeing for the year ahead. I do think this person here is going to be full of, like, they're going to be very dramatic in a lot of the things they say and do, a lot of their actions. 2 again on the clock. I think that there's another way you can look at it. I think that you're being called to show this person empathy, because they're going to need a lot of that this year. And I think that you'll do better keeping some things to your chest, because they're not in a season where they can be happy for you, to be honest. Doesn't mean they're enemies. Doesn't mean you have to hate this person or isolate yourself from this person in entirety. It's just that there's a more mature way you can look at things and just ask God to give your heart eyes and to help you to navigate this situation appropriately. I think this is one of those situations where you have to pray for this person. And, you know, I want to say it's like one of those situations where you say, bless their heart, you know, forgive the Father, for they know not what they do. Because it's them, but it's not a version of them that's them entirety. Like, they're just in a bad space. You know what? He's a good man, Savannah. He's just in a bad situation. It's giving that, not gonna lie. I think that this person here is something that they have to heal, that they've been ignoring, that bothers them. And if they don't acknowledge the fact that, for example, their parents were toxic or abusive, if they've heroed their parents when they were wrong, as an example, doesn't mean it have to be just an example, like in entirety, but just to give you guys something to reference. If they've heroed their parents and their parents are abusive, then some of the things they did that contribute to this mindset, they won't be able to do the work necessary, because they would have to deconstruct some things they've normalized, even if it's their own behavior, you know, in order for them to do the work necessary to get to the point where they understand or hold themselves accountable for the wrongs that they're doing this year. They have to deconstruct the mindset that they've been fully invested in for quite some time. And it's going to take a lot of work. You know, I think that this person here, you could try to explain yourself like back and forth all you want. But it's one of those things where life is going to be this person's best teacher. And just because it's coming from you, they're going to be committed to misunderstanding the point that you're trying to like tell them. So just keep that in mind. Generally speaking, it's just one of those situations where it'll get better with time, you know? just pray God to handle the situation and get this person understanding regarding how to navigate it. Don't let this person's negativity stop you from living your life, though. I don't think that it'll be all bad this year. I just feel like that this person here, they like feeling needed. And when they feel like that you won't need them anymore, it'll kind of trigger them to a certain degree. Whether it's an abandonment wound or whatever. Or this person here, you might find that when you start to achieve a certain level of success and notoriety, you might feel, not saying it's the reality for the long term, but you might feel like this person likes you better when you need them or when you're in a bad situation. I can relate to this when it comes to certain family members I have. I feel like they deal with me better when they feel like I'm struggling. It doesn't mean that I love them less. It's just that I have to see them for who they are and love them for who they are, not who I want them to be. And that's kind of your advice for this particular situation. I feel like that you have to make sure that this person isn't completely, running you to the ground. You have to protect your energy. But also, there's a lesson in it as well. It's a reason why you're involved in whatever it is that God's trying to show this person, because perhaps you can relate to some degree a time in which you've been in this place in your life. If you're being completely honest with yourself, and it's just this person's time to go through it. And I think that God is using you to teach this person this lesson because you know what it's like to be where they were, if that makes any sense. So just give the grace to them that you expected to receive or that you did receive when it was your turn, is what I want to say, with whatever this is. Because it just feels like this person here, they might be hurting. At the core of what it is, like when people are angry, it stems from pain. And pain is like anger is a secondary emotion. It means that somebody's feelings are hurt. So address the hurt feelings and in your mind, like, I guess, like, don't pay no attention to the anger, if that makes sense. So, yeah, this will be your reading. And I don't think that I have anything else to say. Yeah. Anywho, love you to the moon and back and ride those houses. I'll talk to you later. Bye.